You see that awesome Corolla? Not one person in history has ever uttered those words, but today we're going to decide if this '03 Corolla is a buy or a bust. We got this Corolla behind me. It has over 300,000 miles. And now this is not the part of the video where I usually talk about problems, but the odometer stopped at 299,999,999,000. It is somewhere around 330,000 because now all you can do is set the trip, and it's happened 3 or 4 times. So somewhere around 330,000 miles are on this all-original Corolla sitting behind me. Today, we're gonna walk around, we're gonna look at the good, the bad, the ugly on Toyota's most boring car. Up front, you can see the oxidation on the headlights to start off, and while that's common on every vehicle, this one here in particular, the Corollas are worse about it. This one has actually spent most of its life in a garage, and it still has a big problem with it. Now, it's 20 some years, so let's be a little bit easy on it. The grille is also faded. All of the gray plastic on it is just about gone. This car was in town a fair amount of its life, and there's some dings and marks around to show that. You can see the very sporty ground effects going around the outside. The one thing they do is hide the rust that usually shows up behind here, and this side's a little bit better, the other side is worse. The paint itself actually has worn quite well, other than the wear and tear marks. There is a little bit of fading, as you'd expect, but you can tell that the paint was kept indoors most of its life. On this side here, you'll see a little bit more of that rust just starting to peek through, but the good thing about the ground effects is it hides it, and you're never going to want to put any money into one of these cars at this point unless you absolutely have to. There is some peeling paint there on the molding on the door. Not a huge deal. I'd probably just let that go at 330,000 miles. The overall styling, I would consider it beige. Like the most boring thing you could possibly think of, that is what it is. Under the hood, we have the legendary Toyota 1.8 liter 4-cylinder that pumps out a whopping 130 horsepower that will carry you at very slow speeds back and forth from the senior center to the pinochle tournament. I have been joking around in this video, truly guys, more than usual, and that is because these things are so gosh darn reliable, I'm not sure what else to talk about, okay? There is some problems. I don't even know if I can consider them common because some people just go 330,000 miles with nothing more than common maintenance on the powertrain on these cars, and that's exactly what happened with this one. It has had no issues, nothing other than oil changes and just routine stuff has been done to it. Everything else has performed flawlessly, and that is a lot of people's experience. That being said, I am going to talk about a few things that could pop up, not that they are super common, but we'll still talk about them just because I have to put something in the video. So here are some of the problems. Variable valve timing solenoids can go bad, kind of creates a weird idle revving thing. Not a huge expense to replace, not a huge deal, but they do pop up from time to time. Timing chain tensioner. If you notice a little sound that sounds like a chain sort of a sound or metal sound, usually the timing chain tensioner. Again, not a huge repair. That one is somewhat common. You'll probably run across that if you're looking at a higher mileage one and it hasn't been done. The other thing is the intake manifold gaskets do have a tendency to fail, can cause a check engine light, not a huge deal and easy to replace. One thing on this one that I do notice is the tensioner pulleys for the actual side of the engine, not the timing chain tensioner, the belt tensioner. Belts, pulleys, do make some squeaking sort of sounds. This one here, I don't know how much it would come up on video, but it does make some noise under there. I have seen the O2 sensors as well as starters go bad on these. Those are not terribly common, but they do pop up from time to time. Also, if you get a check engine light, a lot of the time it's evap codes for your gas cap or the evap canister itself, kind of standard for every car that gets up to higher mileage. The exhaust manifolds on these do have a tendency to crack as well. Again, this is not a super common thing. It will make your car very loud. Doesn't really cause a lot of other problems, but if you actually want to be able to think during your drive, you probably want to replace that. Now the engine is mated to a 4-speed transmission that is pretty much downright reliable. The only thing that I've really noted that some people have had a problem with is the torque converter solenoid. Not super common, but it could pop up and it will cause a check engine light for that. Opening up the door, you will see the luxurious interior that Toyota appointed these cars with, straight out of 1980, even though this was redesigned in 2002. Surprisingly, it actually has not held up that well. Trust me, I understand the car is 21 years old. That is not lost on me, but there is still some things that I have not seen on other cars of this age. None of it's a huge deal, but it is something I want to note. Door panels have completely pretty much come unglued along the top edge on both sides. Door handles, chrome is peeling around. Not a huge deal, I understand. And then plastic stuff like the door that covers your change area or where you throw stuff up there, that is broken off. And the just general styling, I know I made a joke about it feeling out of the 90s, but really this interior feels like an older car than this generation of cars were. If that makes sense. There's other cars out there of this same era that feel much newer than this one. This one, to me, could be straight out of 1995 and you would not know the difference. Now, it sounds like I'm hating on this interior, and I kind of am, because it's not my favorite, but it is comfortable, it's functional, all of those things that Toyota is known for, and it's not exciting one bit. There is a few things in here as well that have failed, and that is driver's switch has failed for the windows. To you only can do it on the passenger side if you want that window to go down, which actually could be kind of annoying, but not an expensive fix. The other one, and this is probably the most common problem, 100% seems like everyone has this issue, and that is the clock in the center console goes bad. You can't even find a used replacement because they're all bad. They can be resoldered, but very common problem. If you want to know what time it is, better check your cell phone, but you shouldn't be doing that while you're driving. So you do what you got to do. All other electronics, radio, everything like that works. One thing I didn't mention is that it does have a check engine light on, and that is for catalytic converter. Not a terribly common problem on these, but at 300,000 miles, you're going to be getting into the range where some of those things pop up, and it's not going to be fixed on this car because that would be ridiculous to spend the money on that for a car of this age and miles. In the back seat here, you can see my legroom is okay for a small car. My headroom feels respectable, but it is close, and I'm not super tall. Seat is comfortable. There's almost zero creature comforts whatsoever. Everything is basic, but that's okay. One thing I do have a complaint about is this is probably better than no cup holders, but the cup holder that they have that comes out of the center console is one of the cheapest feeling things I've ever seen. If you put a big gulp in this, it's hitting the ground directly, and now you got Dr. Pepper on your carpet. We are pulling our way out of the bumpy parking lot, which is actually great. I enjoy bumps on these drives because you can really feel the suspension. This feels good. I'm actually kind of impressed if it all hasn't been replaced recently. Most of the time when you get a car of this age, even in Toyota, as reliable as they are, you're gonna have suspension issues. And the Corolla is, not immune to those things either. We're gonna pull out on the highway here and feel all that 130 horsepower. And I will tell you that it is downright slow. Not fast even a little bit. The engine is pretty smooth considering the miles. There's a little bit of vibration in there, not terrible. One of the things I do notice is those belts are squealing and making a little bit of noise there at certain speeds, and when you accelerate a little bit there, you can hear it. So the good thing about the really low horsepower engine is that this thing gets 40 miles to the gallon out on the highway, which is good by any standards that are like a non-hybrid. Even today, that is a wildly good number, and I'm really impressed with that. And people out there in the real world on a day-to-day basis are achieving 39, 40 miles to the gallon, and that is pretty incredible. So with the fuel mileage thing, I can pretty much forgive any other things. I will say, the interior does squeak, sort of rattle. So does the whole car. It doesn't feel super refined, but it does feel more age-related than what it was when it was new. Just things that happened after 20-some years. Not anything that I think is wrong or you need to replace, but you can just, you know, feel the age in the car a little bit. I would say that overall the driving experience is delightfully boring. It centers on the road really nicely. There is nothing that is going to surprise you. There's nothing in a good or a bad way. It's just a functional car, which I've reviewed enough Toyotas now that is kind of their MO. There is nothing exciting about them, but somehow they work and are just reliable. Back from the test drive here, and overall, I gotta say, it's okay. This is not as refined as it was from the factory. You can tell it has some age and squeaks and different things like that about it, but it drives really nice for the amount of miles that are on it. And in fact, is probably more refined than some of the newer cars that I've driven from the cheaper brands out there. We're not talking about those right now, but I'm just saying this one is not bad at all. So now it's time that we have to decide if this is a buy or if it's a bust. These run $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 depending on age, miles, condition, all that different stuff of this generation. And they generally are more expensive than some of the other options out there because they have such an incredible reputation. The Corolla and the Camry probably have the best reputations in the entire automotive world. No one is going to tell you that you bought a piece of junk car. While these cars are not perfect, there is absolutely no way that I can say that this thing is anything other than a buy. They get 40 miles to the gallon. They hold up remarkably well. All of the common problems, with the exception of the clock, which I can let go, are really not that common, and they're hit or miss whether you're going to have those problems or not. And very few of them are expensive to repair. It actually makes sense on most of these to just keep fixing those small problems because you're going to get so much life out of the vehicle. That's why today I'm calling it a buy, and I want to know if you agree with me. I want to know the common problems you've had if you've had a Corolla, or what your thoughts are down below. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so